Yo, happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore, founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Today, we're going to be talking about whether or not you should be adding the fact that you are a creator to your LinkedIn. This is especially concerning for folks who have a 9-to-5 job still, and they're concerned that they don't want people knowing that they're a creator at their real job, basically. So we're going to be talking about that today. Excited to have you all here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I am live across LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, I don't even know what other platforms. Excited to be here. Drop it in the chat where you're tuning in from. Let me pull up the Instagram chat. This has been a very, very busy week or two for me with my Brand Deal Wizard program. But I'm here. I show up every single week to serve y'all. We've got Bree from Need the Recipe tuning in on IG. We've got Mulan tuning in from Chicago. Good to see you. XO Jazz tuning in as well. We've got Marife Aguirre, Tanawan on TikTok. Good to see you. We got Cal tuning in all the way from New York. Hope your air quality is okay right now, Cal. So why don't we just kick it off? As you know, these live streams are for you. And so if you have any questions around sponsorships, negotiations, brand deals, partnerships, et cetera, we're going to be doing a little bit of a Q&A closer towards the end. But why don't we just dive in? Oh, we got Ramen Razzi tuning in, a member of our Brand Deal Wizard program as well. Good to see you here. So let's dive in, right? Still have a 9-to-5? Here's why you should add creator to your LinkedIn now. So during the Q&A in my Brand Deal Wizard course last week, a creator said, I don't feel comfortable interacting with brands on LinkedIn since I still have a 9-to-5 job. And I get it, right? When I still worked in medical devices, I felt as though I lived a double life, right? I would spend all day at the office thinking about everything that I was going to do for our YouTube channels when I got home, right? Basically, when I was at my 9-to-5, all I could think about was our 5 to 9, basically, right? And for the longest time, I was absolutely terrified that someone at my job would find out that I was a YouTuber, right? I was going to get found out, right? Oh, let me list the fears, right? Okay, people would think that I wasn't working hard enough at my job, right? People would make fun of me for trying to be an influencer, right? People would constantly ask me questions about it in a condescending way, like, "Oh, yeah, so you just imagine in your head, you create these scenarios, right?" So let me know in the comments, anyone concerned about this? Is this something that you've kept you awake at night, feeling as though you can't share this other side of you with people in your real life? Let me know in the comments. Cal says, "I'm a digital marketer or a diversified media company operator." Love to hear that. Mulan MTZ says, "Oh, that's me. I'm sure April has showed you my social, and I struggle with partnerships." I got you. Yeah. So this is a very common thing, and so I want to talk about this just head on because I think it's something that holds a lot of people back. Honestly, I just didn't want to deal with any of it. Right. My wife, April, and I, back in the day, we wanted to grow our audience and our income, but not grow too much because then we'd be kind of found out, right? If we get too big, people would see our videos or see our posts or whatever, right? And then one day, something inside me just snapped. And I don't know what came over me, but I just started feeling sick and tired of trying to hide this part of my identity. So I booted up my computer, right? My palms were sweating. I opened up LinkedIn. My fingers were quivering. I was hovering over the keys and I just added a new job position. I said creator, the company was YouTube, and I just hit save. I know I'm being a little dramatic here, but it really felt like that intense of a decision. And you want to know what happened? People at my job, they saw it. Not right away, but about a week later. One of my coworkers came up to me and they said, "So I saw on your LinkedIn that you're a YouTuber." And I thought, oh gosh, here we go, right? But to my surprise, instead of making fun of me, they were curious. They said, "That's actually really cool. How long have you been doing that, right? What's your channel about? Do you make money from that?" Right? And I just kind of gave them my spiel, right? And I'll be totally honest, it was awkward at first, right? But after a few more coworkers found out, I gave them the spiel also, right? And I got more comfortable with basically kind of just raising my head high, puffing my chest out, right? Whenever I was talking about this crazy thing that my wife and I were doing on the internet. And don't get me wrong, there were some people who were condescending, even friends and family members. That really sucked. But honestly, those interactions were the minority. Most people were super curious about it and actually thought it was cool. And I spent years dreading this decision and not owning my real identity. For what, right? The fear of losing my job, the fear of having a few awkward conversations, the fear of being judged by some people whose opinions I didn't even really care about anyway. Really? I think like this point in particular, like we have this imaginary like audience in our head, this imaginary group of people, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's, people that we grew up with, like whatever, people, in-laws, whatever it is, like there's usually like this perception that we think that people are always judging the things that we're doing, especially when we're venturing out, doing things that are maybe a little bit non-traditional, a little bit entrepreneurial, are not the traditional job career path. And we feel as though we're being silently judged. And yeah, there may be certain situations where you are actually being judged. But I think a lot of times, especially as creators, especially as online entrepreneurs, we make up these fake narratives in our head to prevent us from doing things. They serve as the excuse for us to not go after our dreams or not go after this stretch goal that we have. Because, hey, if we fail, all these people are going to be vindicated. Oh yeah, look, they tried it. And look, we always knew all along that they weren't going to be able to accomplish that, right? And so it's this thing that holds a lot of us back. And so this exercise of actually like owning this part of my identity, right? Really, it was a really empowering experience, right? Not only did I start talking on LinkedIn about what I was doing on social media, but I started using it as a tool to nurture the relationships that we were building with brands and agencies. And if you're thinking LinkedIn, who the heck still uses LinkedIn anymore? And the answer is a lot of people, right? All the people that control the purse strings and the budgets that you want to access, which is why LinkedIn is a major focus of my program. And so again, like if you are still living a double life, okay, if you are juggling the 9 to 5 and you're side hustling as a creator, I want you to remember, it is okay to be multi-passionate. It is okay to be scared and nervous about how people will react. But most of all, it is okay to not hide the true parts of your identity that make this life fun, unpredictable, and fulfilling. So I wanted to start off with this not a diatribe, but kind of a call to arms, which is that if you're a creator who really wants to own this part of yourself, you want to feel comfortable sharing this with other people and not feeling awkward and uncomfortable and all this stuff too. It comes down to a simple mindset shift around like realizing that most people don't really care about this thing that you're doing. They're like immersed in their own life. And yeah, they maybe emerge and kind of make fun of you here and there. But like, to be honest, most people don't care. Like you think that people are like watching your every move, but mostly they're not. They don't care. And so I think that at least for me, that gave me a lot of permission to realize like I was kind of taking myself too seriously. And, honestly, most people I think will actually think it's pretty cool. And in fact, like, let me share this other anecdote, which is that it was like doing this online creator thing, online business thing was way more of a novelty 10 years ago when we started out. Like people, like I quit my 6-figure medical devices job to be a YouTuber. That at that time, 10 years ago, virtually no one we knew was doing this. No one we knew was like making a full-time income doing this. And so it was very surprising to like all of our friends, all of our family, everyone we knew was like, what? Like people, would just kind of poke us with a stick all the time and be like, well, so what's that like online? How do you make money on YouTube? Like, just all these questions. And yeah, it was annoying at first, but once we kind of leaned into that, like it got better over the years. And basically the purpose of that story is that things are so much more normalized today about deriving an income doing this. And in fact, a lot of people have become quite disillusioned with the traditional career path, right? Especially you saw over the pandemic that people were realizing, they kind of had this existential crisis and realized like maybe this career that I'm in is not really what I want to do with my life, right? And so there's a lot of people who are kind of exiting the corporate traditional career path and looking at, wow, being in control of my own destiny and being a creator or having an online business or this type of thing that is actually something that a lot of people aspire to. now. So I think you're going to like, we are still so early in the, I think we're kind of in to use the sports analogy, we're still, I think, kind of in the second inning of the creator economy, or the, kind of the online entrepreneur economy. A lot of people think, oh, YouTube has been around for 15 years or, almost 20 years or whatever. But like that, we're still so early. And I think that, you can't like get disillusioned about this. Oh, it's too late for me. It's too saturated. Like there's just no way that I could ever stand out. And I'm here to say that is just total BS. That is an excuse that's like preventing you from like going after your dreams and going after these things that you're passionate about. So if you ever needed permission from anyone and you were waiting, you're kind of hovering on the edge of like, should I do this? Should I try this thing? I'm here to tell you that you can do it. I believe in you. If you need someone to believe in you, I'll be that person. If you need some encouragement, I'll be that person. I'll be the first person rooting for you, because you have to remember that you are going to fail along this journey. There's going to be moments where you take a step forward and you have to take 2 steps back because this thing that you tried didn't work out. April and I have had so many of those moments where we felt like we were making progress and then we had to take 2 steps backwards, or 3 steps, 10 steps backwards, whatever. But we just kept persevering. We kept believing in ourselves. We kept believing in this thing that we were doing, even though we were looking around and there wasn't a lot of people around us who were doing this thing. There wasn't a lot of people that we could model after, but we really, really believed in this thing and we kept doing it. And now a lot of people, look to us and be like, how have you created this like crazy life for yourself? Well, it's because we've been doing it for 15 years, literally. We've been full-time for almost a decade now. And so actually April's been full-time for 12 years. I've been full-time for 9 years or 13 years, right? For her, or 11 years for her. So, like this is something you get better at through repetition, right? And so, if you're 6 months in, a year in, 3 years in, or whatever, just believe me, like if you want to do this for the long term, you have to have a long-term vision, and not get demoralized after a few setbacks, because expect that along this journey, right? If you want the comfort of a 9-to-5 job and a W-2 salary or a consistent paycheck every 2 weeks or every month or whatever, then being a creator is not going to be the thing that will be that for you. But like, I'm just going to say it like straight up, right? There's a lot of times where we have to have had to be kind of nimble and shift our approach. And, like if you like, at one point, our YouTube AdSense checks represented like almost 95% of our income as creators. Like that was where we were making the lion's share of our money. And now that money represents 1% of our monthly income, our annual income. Can you imagine that swing? 95% to 1%. Now, obviously, we've built out a very diversified business, a very robust business over the decade plus that we've been doing that, but that's a very big change. And so you have to realize that there's going to be probably chapters in your creator journey where like, yeah, you may be making the lion's share of your money in this one thing, but that could change in 5 years or 10 years or 2 years or whatever, right? A good example, I've shared, I've shared this before on the live stream that like, our live commerce, Amazon Live business, the portion of the business that we do with live commerce, that didn't exist for us, 2-3 years ago. And now it represents a really significant portion of our income because we jumped on it early, right? So anyways, like I just wanted to like start with this topic because I think that if you want to go after those big dreams that you have, it starts with looking at yourself in the mirror and having the confidence to not only admit to yourself that it's okay to have those ambitious goals, but also admit to others that it's okay to have those goals, because there's going to be people in your life who don't believe in you. And that's always going to be the case. There's nothing you can do about that, but it starts with yourself. So I wanted to start off with that. We've got nice Chris in the chat. What is going on, man? Good to see you. It's been too long, man. Good to see you here. We got the KMH family, Hanadi. What's up? We got She Fires. Good to see you here. Let's see here. We've got Parker's on the go. Shelby Worth, Shelb Worth, Nico Lindas. We've got the Brand Kids, Beauty Gems. Good to see you all here. We've got Daryl the Finisher. What's going on, Daryl? Good to see you, man. Let's see. We've got who else we got here? Let's see in the TikTok chat. Let's see here. All right. I am going to block an account real quickly. Thank you. Let me take a swig. Okay, so while I take a break after talking for 15 minutes straight, Let me know what your questions are in the chat. Let me know brand deals, negotiations, sponsorships, partnerships, you name it. I am here for you. I serve you on these weekly live streams. I love talking about these things. You know, the last, so we're basically halfway through cohort 9 of my Brand Deal Wizard program. And this is always like a very heavy lift for me and my team, because I just throw my all into this program, y'all. Like, I absolutely love doing it, but it also empties my cup. It fills my cup and empties it at the same time because it's so invigorating. I love doing it. I love teaching it, but I also put my heart on the line. I put everything on the line basically because I just, I don't know how to not do that, I guess is the point. And I've one thing I really love about being able to be surrounded and hear from creators in a lot of different niches and platforms is that everyone is kind of going through different things in terms of like, certain people are concerned about the economy and like how that might impact brand deal flow or just, the influencer marketing, creator economy in general. A lot of people are experiencing a lot of success right now, and the economy has not impacted their business at all. In fact, it's been a boon to their business because they're in certain verticals or certain business, areas that are kind of insulated from that type of thing. So it's been really fascinating. I love this. I love being able to have my finger on the pulse of like, what is going on for people on the ground. My wife and I are obviously, we still have our channels and we're doing deals and all this stuff too. So we have that data point, but like being able to have this breadth of exposure to lots of different types of creators, whether it's, consumer facing creators, B2B, we have B2B marketers, whatever it is, like we have a lot of different types of people in the program. In fact, we got Scott Sanchez here in the chat. Chief Marketing Officer Extraordinaire. He said, "I'm here. We can get started now." Boom. Love to see you. What's up, Scott? Good to hear you. Good to see you here, man. Let's see. We got Butcher Wizard. We got another wizard. We got the Butcher Wizard in the house, dude. We got to like do some sort of collab here. That's amazing. Are you going to have another cohort of Brand Deal Wizard before the end of the year? I'm going to be totally honest with you, dude. I do not know. I've shared this before on a previous live stream that I really, really, really want to write a book. And I know that it's going to be at least a 6-month project. And so like that's the next big project on my list. And it's very hard for me. I basically know that I'm going to need to kind of go into a hole for a long time to kind of like write the book that I want to write. I want to basically write the definitive book on partnerships, on sponsorships. And in a non-textbook, like kind of stuffy way. I want it to be approachable and applicable to all different types of creators and online business folks and entrepreneurs and all that stuff. And so I don't know. Usually I have my cohorts 3 times a year, and the third cohort of the year is usually the fall cohort, which is in the October-November timeframe. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be holding that there'll be cohort number 10. So it's possible that I might be waiting until February or March of next year to do the live cohort. I will mention now that we have a new version of the program, which is called Brand Deal Wizard On Demand, which allows you access all throughout the year to access the learnings and the trainings and all that stuff, as well as there is an opportunity for like live office hours and so on. It isn't the same experience as the live cohort, of course, which most people join the live cohort for the accountability and to kind of have it be a 4-week sprint where they can just like dedicate their time. I'm going to learn this thing over the next 4 weeks. But if you really can't wait and you really want to access this information now, then you can definitely check out Brand Deal Wizard On Demand. And if you are not sure how to access that, just send me an email or a note. All right, we got a question here from Miso Hungry. Are there less YouTube sponsorship opportunities going around in 2023? I'm wondering if this is something all creators across the board are experiencing or if it's just me. So it's a great question. So I get this question constantly, which is, are the economic conditions right now impacting influencer marketing spend for brands, for advertisers, for agencies? And the answer is yes, like 100%. Like all brands are going through this evaluation process right now of understanding how are they going to allocate their marketing dollars, right? Because you have to remember, influencer marketing is just one typically small portion of a brand's overall marketing spend, right? So if they're spending $1 million a year, $10 million a year, $100,000 a year, whatever it is, they're allocating buckets of money for different things. It's called your media mix or your media strategy, right? And usually there is if it's a large enough brand, they will have what's called a media agency that is running point on this strategy, right? So you are running broadcast TV ads, out of home, billboards, bus benches, print magazines, digital media, right? So you're maybe running TrueView ads on YouTube, you're running ads in the feed, on Facebook, Instagram, et cetera. And then, paying creators, paying influencers to talk about your brand, especially if it's a consumer facing brand, then you're definitely doing influencer marketing as well. And so in a period of economic uncertainty and instability, what every brand is doing right now is trying to look at all of those channels and determine, okay, what are the non-negotiables? What are the channels in which we have to continue advertising? We cannot pull out. Okay, then that's one criteria. The other criteria is straight up ROI, right? Like return on investment. What are the channels where it's predictable? Like you look at Facebook and Instagram, for example, or YouTube or whatever. And I'm not talking about paying creators. I'm just talking about running ads, right? They have these 30-second, almost like broadcast TV commercial quality ads or pictures, whatever, that run in the feed. And they know that if they put $1 into, with this creative into the Meta, Instagram and Facebook black box, they know that they're going to get $3 out of that, right? So there's it's a term called ROAS, right? Return on ad spend, right? And so they know that they're going to do that all day long because it's predictable, right? But they're not just going to do that, but they know that that's a channel where there's a certain amount of predictability. They've been running ads on this platform or running this type of advertising in a certain way for 5 years, 7 years, or whatever, and it's predictable. So they're going to keep doing that all day long because of that predictability. When they look at influencer marketing and paying creators to talk about them, there's oftentimes not a certain level of certainty from creator to creator. So if you pay one creator $1,000 or $10,000 or $50,000, whatever it is, you don't have that oftentimes same level of certainty of what you're going to get on the other end of that. There's certain marketers that look at influencer marketing differently. In fact, we had a guest expert, for Heidi Mika from Mechanism, which is a very large advertising agency, and she said that typically when they put together influencer campaigns for their clients, they look at influencer marketing as a top of funnel approach, more awareness focused, not lower of funnel conversion approach. That's not how every brand looks at it. A lot of brands do. They are looking for sales and conversions and all that stuff, but it really just kind of depends on the client and the brand and the agency and so on. And so again, take a pause here. This is why it's so important that you ascertain what the brand's objective is, right? You can't just go into it and be like, okay, this is how they ask you how much you charge for one YouTube video. You say 1,000, right? Which is what most creators do. No, you can't give them a rate until you understand what their goal is, right? And so your pricing and your pitch and all that stuff should change based on their goal, which is something we go into in detail in my program. But all this to say, I wanted to give you this contextual story, this contextual anecdote to help you understand that there may be a lot of brands who determine that influencer marketing or paying creators on YouTube, on any platform, is not the best utilization of their marketing dollars at this point. However, what that doesn't mean though, and so probably what I'm hearing, I'm reading between the lines here, is that this means that you're getting a reduction in inbound deal flow. Meaning that previously you were having a bunch of sponsors reach out and be like, hey, we want to collaborate with you, et cetera, et cetera. And it was easy up until then. You just basically, it was like shooting fish in a barrel, basically. You didn't have to do any work. You were just responding to inbound inquiries. And this is one of the chief reasons, one of the chief things that I teach in my program is that if the only way, if sponsorships represents a significant portion of your income as a creator, and the only thing that you are doing is responding to inbound inquiries, look what happened. We reached a point in the economy, or for whatever reason in your niche or whatever, there is now a ebb there's a dip in deal flow for you. And because you were not out there doing proactive outreach to supplement your inbound deal flow, you are now sitting here thinking oh my gosh, I don't have any sponsors right now. And so this is one of the biggest myths that a lot of creators think that once I get to a certain size of my channel, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, a million subscribers or whatever, I'm not going to have to do any outreach anymore. I'm not going to have to do any proactive outreach, which is 100% false. You have to be always supplementing your sponsorship flow with like inbound flow with outbound outreach, because you are going to be basically filling in those gaps along your sponsorship wheel, which is my framework that I teach. Another way to think about it is a sponsorship pipeline. And so you now are able to fill in that pipeline to ensure that, yeah, you may still have some inbound deals, but you're, where the places where you have gaps and the places where you don't have opportunities lined up, you're actually going out there and forging partnerships proactively. And so this is a very foreign concept for a lot of creators, but it is like the absolute like crux of what I teach. And so like, what I hope you hear from this though is an optimistic call to arms, because this means that you're no longer like a victim now. You're no longer like, oh my gosh, there's no deals. This is now, I hope, an empowering sentiment for you, because it's like, oh, okay, I can actually go out and pitch brands. Yes, it's going to require probably some more education, because remember what the perspective is of the brand. The reason that you don't have as many inbound deals is because brands are concerned. They're thinking that influencer marketing is not a good place for us to invest our dollars right now. And so your task, your job when you do reach out to these brands and pitch them, is to help them understand that, hey, you actually should still be doing influencer marketing, and you should specifically be doing it with me, and here's why. And so you have to develop a pitch and proposals to help them understand that value proposition that you're going to bring to the table. And it's going to be very different for every creator, every niche, every vertical, et cetera. So this is what I teach. This is how I coach creators. It's like understanding what is your unique value proposition, so that when you do reach out to a brand, you have something that you're able to pitch them something that they realize like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. We weren't considering, we were going to put a pause on our influencer marketing spend, but I'm actually going to like reverse that decision, and we're going to take 10K of that or 5K of that or whatever and give it to this creator over here, because they actually have a very well-reasoned justification of why we should continue to do this. We had another guest expert in my session, was it yesterday? 2 days ago, Wednesday. Her name was Jenny Heinrich, and she has I've known her for many years. She's been an executive at top executive at many very large agencies. I think her last role was the executive vice president of influencer talent, music, branded celebrity. Like she was basically like the EVP, executive vice president across the whole department at Ketchum, which is a very, very large advertising agency. And she mentioned one really, really interesting thing in her session, or the session during the course was called Inside the Mind of a Brand. Like what are brands thinking about right now? And what are the brands thinking about when they work with creators at all the different stages throughout the partnership? It was a really fascinating conversation. And one thing she said, which was pretty interesting, is that I think I asked her, like, what is the biggest change that you've noticed over the last 10 years in influencer marketing? And one thing that she mentioned was that brands used to, especially after the pandemic, they used to plan way far in advance their like annual budgets, right? They used to, say, okay, yeah, we're in like November 2022 and we're going to finalize our budget for like 2024, right? So like 14 months in advance or whatever. And like, I can vouch for this because when I ran the agency, we would oftentimes receive, I remember one time we received an RFP, which is a request for a proposal, for a campaign that it was like January, and they wanted us to submit a proposal for a campaign that they were going to run in March of the following year. So yeah, like 14, 15 months in advance. And this was like a 7-figure, campaign. And we were just like, what? Like this far in advance? We had been up to that date, been used to kind of doing 3-6 months in advance, this type of thing for planning. But it was just crazy, right? And so what she said, which was kind of a shift, and it was a very interesting point, was that brands are no longer doing it that far in advance. Usually they're trying to plan out 1 to 2 quarters in advance now. They're almost never doing those like annual budget, like locking in the annual budget that far in advance anymore. Because as they found out with the pandemic, and they had to be extremely nimble to, like for example, do you remember like the Olympics and like what happened during the pandemic? Like so many brands, P&G, these super large like banner, conglomerate advertisers, they had to figure out and redeploy billions of dollars of marketing capital in a very quick amount of time. Like, I bet you those dollars were allocated to the Olympics like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, probably, like a very, very long, like really far in advance, because, they know they're planning these Olympics like really far in advance. They have to build the stadiums, all that stuff. And so the marketing budgets, allocating, spots for the advertisers, that happens way far in advance. I don't actually know if it's that far in advance, but I would imagine it is. And so, like, they had to, in a very short amount of time, redeploy billions of dollars of capital, which is not an easy thing to do. You can't just like magically redeploy a $500 million of marketing spend, right? And so it's like, and a lot of these brands, they can't stop advertising. Like, they have to deploy this capital because they need consumers to keep spending. There's a lot of like entrenched bureaucracy that relies on those dollars being spent, both on the brand and advertiser side, but also the publisher side, right? The TV networks and whatever channel it is that you're deploying this capital. And so honestly, this is a really, really important lesson, which is understanding that times are changing, right? That brands are realizing that they can't just be super like fixed and be very rigid, because they need to be able to be nimble and redeploy capital where necessary. And so things are definitely changing, which is actually good news for you, I think. Every creator listening to this, because that means that if you are, you're not getting a bunch of inbound deal flow like you used to maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, reaching out and pitching a brand with something really compelling might dislodge some of that budget in your favor. So really great question. I'm gonna take a swig and see who's here. Oh my goodness. All right. Who do we got here? We've got, hey, Erica Smith, Mrs. Lopez, Esprit. Esprit, who says, look at you maximizing all the platform. What's up, Esprit? Good to see you here. We've got Elevate with Vern. Good to see you here. We've got Rod Kavan. We're saying, yeah, brands are throwing money at influencers these days, man. Literally 10,000 plus for an Instagram story. That actually is a lot. So that's probably got to be like an A-list celebrity or someone who's got millions. But yeah, some brands will do stuff like that. Let's talk about this, Rod, real quickly. $10,000 plus for an Instagram story. You think that's insane? Let me provide an alternative perspective around that, which is that, look, if an Instagram story in particular, like, if, let's say, you contract a creator or an influencer to do 5 Instagram story frames, and you mandate as a brand that every frame has to have a link sticker on it, right? Which is like, we're talking low, bottom of funnel here, right? Where you're able to drive someone with a CTA, like a call to action, to directly click on that link. Maybe there's a promo code associated with that Instagram story partnership, and you're able to like attribute, sales from those 5 story frames. I bet you all day long that there are brands who are going to do that. They're going to make that deal, right? Because they're probably returning. Remember that term that we threw around, ROAS, return on ad spend? They're probably spending, maybe it's a proven creator, a proven influencer that they've worked with before, and they drove $50,000 worth of product sales from 5 Instagram story frames. So they're going to play that creator 10K all day long. So it seems obscene. It seems crazy, right? But like, there are certain creators who are really going to drive those types of results. Let me be clear. Like, I ran an agency, and results may vary, right? Because I've worked with lots of different creators. You can line up 2 creators back to back, both of whom have 1 million followers on Instagram, or 100K, 500K, whatever, and wildly different results, right? You could have 2 sales from one of them and 1,000 sales from the other, right? So it really does, depend on how engaged your audience is and how, intimate of a connection that creator has with their audience and so on. But yeah, it really is pretty crazy. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm going to, Rod says, it's not a lie. I've sat on calls and heard these numbers, agencies in LA. Oh yeah, 100%. I ran an agency for 7 years, dude. I've paid some creators lots and lots of money. And it was a good investment. The brand was happy with it. Semyon says, good stream on TikTok. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. We got Durag Dev the Goat. You changed your handle back, man, because I just kept saying it. You knew you had that branding play. Good to see you here, man. Let's see here. Okay, we got a question from Mel, Furniture Makeovers and DIY. Do you see more value in spending time cold pitching brands or creating content to get seen by them / get on their radar and engaging with them? It's not an either or, it's both, Mel. So if you're wondering like whether or not you should spend more time pitching brands or creating really high value, compelling content that'll attract brands to you, the cold answer is that you have to do both, right? Because you can't have one without the other. If you're pitching a brand and they say, oh, this is interesting, and then they land on your platform and it's like womp, 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 right? It's like this type of thing. Then you're not going to forge that deal, right? Contrast that with if you're only creating content and just waiting for them to come to you. If you've ever seen Field of Dreams, I'm going to date myself here, right? If you build it, they will come. Like that's also not a sustainable and scalable strategy to have recurring sponsorship income in your creator business, right? And so the cold truth of it is that you have to do both. And you should be allocating time in your schedule as a creator to do both, right? And so I don't know what that time blocking looks like for you. Maybe it's 80% content creation, 20% business development, sales. This is a foreign concept for most creators. It's like, what? Like, I didn't get into this to do sales or to do businessy stuff. Like, I just want to be creative. I want to scratch that itch. And, I'm here to say that too bad, right? Like if you want to make a sustainable income from being a creator, you have to devote a non-trivial amount of time to the business stuff. And for those of you thinking like, I just want to hire a manager. I want to find a manager, someone to like do that for me. I actually wrote a kind of a controversial article. I talked about this on the live stream last week. But I think I made this post talking about how I believe 99% of creators should not hire managers. I think it's a bad decision for most people. And some of the stuff that I talked about in this article was that you really are kind of robbing yourself of an education and building this competency and this Rolodex internally for your business. Like, for example, if you are completely checked out from the business side of it and you're only focusing on the creative stuff, and you really don't know this manager really well, you just, maybe you got a referral from a friend or, friend of a friend or whatever, and you really don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of risks associated with that. You don't know how they're representing you in the market. They could be insane and like actually driving business away from you because you're not on those email threads. If things happen and you ultimately part ways with that manager and you didn't want to be CC'd on those emails or whatever, fast forward a year, 6 months or whatever, and they were out there, being the sole point of contact with all these brands, then like what's going to happen? You now don't have those contacts that like these deals were yours, right? And you don't have those contacts because it was actually the manager building their own Rolodex, not on your behalf, but they like weren't transparent about that type of stuff. I had actually a lot of people reach out to me and there was a lot of people who were really resonated with, but there was a lot of people who were kind of mad about it. Like I actually had quite a few managers reach out and kind of rebut my argument. And it's good. I like that there's this healthy dialogue going on, but I'm going to start being more vocal about this because I believe that like, maybe if you have tens of millions of followers, subscribers, whatever, hire a manager, whatever. Like, what I'm not saying is don't hire anyone. Like I have a team, right? But what I'm saying is like the chief salesperson, head of brand, the person who really should be doing the high level business development is you. You should not be delegating that to someone. And so I understand that it's kind of a controversial stance, but I'm gonna go to my grave with this one because I really do believe it. I really do believe it. So hope that helps, Mel. All right. Daryl the Finisher says, what is the second best platform to post content besides YouTube? So my answer is it depends on your niche. It depends on your audience. I have no idea. Where is your audience spending time? Where are the brands that you want to partner with spending time? I don't know. If whatever platform it is, if it's TikTok, if it's Pinterest, if it's, MySpace, I don't know. You should be spending time where your audience and those sponsors are hanging out. It's a very simple litmus test. It's those two things. Where is your audience hanging out and spending time, and where are brands starting to partner with creators in your content vertical? End of day, that's where you should be spending time. And I realize like it's hard to do it all. If it's just you don't have a team, maybe you're just doing one platform like YouTube or whatever, and you're trying to like figure out, you have kind of a 1-2 approach here. then you're gonna have to poll your audience. You're gonna have to start having some conversations, sending out a survey, sending out, a poll on your YouTube community tab, whatever. It doesn't have to be complicated. But you should be figuring this out. That accomplishes a lot of things. It accomplishes, you're not just a one-trick pony now when you're working with partners and the only thing that you have to offer them is an integrated YouTube video or a dedicated YouTube video. Now you're able to upsell and put together packages with other deliverables on other platforms. If I were to say, like, honestly, the universal answer would be a newsletter. It would be an email list, because that is the one thing that you will always have control over. Like, honestly, if I had to go back and look and make, kind of tell you, like, the best thing that I did over the last 3 years in building Creator Wizard, it was starting an email list, dude. Because I have 30,000 creators on there now. And so not only am I doing sponsorships for my own business, but now when I decided to release digital products, courses, coaching, etc., I know how to direct channel to those people. Here's a interesting statistic. When I launched my gifted to paid course about a year ago, what was it, a year ago? Yeah, like I think about a year ago, 6 months ago. I actually don't know how long ago it was. I launched it over a 5-day period. And I only posted about it once on social media, on Twitter. I literally didn't post about the fact that I was launching this course anywhere else other than my email list. And I made basically $20,000 in 5 days. So email is the one thing that I believe is never dying. People are always, it takes effort to cut through the noise in an email inbox. So you have to provide value. So there's a strategy behind it. Like, I have a newsletter, something that I'm sending out multiple times a week. And so I'm nurturing, that audience, and I'm, providing value to them and sending articles and videos. And I think a lot of you are probably on the newsletter. If you're not, you should be. CreatorWizard.com/join. If you're not on the newsletter, it's totally free. But hold on, I'm going to see how I'm ruthlessly and I have no shame plugging this. I'm going to drop the link in the chat here. It's just CreatorWizard.com/join. It's something that, also, again, going back to this whole idea, being able to upsell partners, if you're negotiating with a sponsor, I don't know if you can tell me what your what your content vertical is in the chat. But it's imagine being able to go to a partner that you're negotiating with and saying, hey, in addition to doing an integrated YouTube video or a TikTok or, whatever platform you're on, Instagram Reel, I also have 2,000 of my most engaged audience members, who, by the way, are prospective customers of that brand. I can also do a couple new, email blasts talking about I'll share the video that I made, and I can share the promotion, the coupon code, and whatever it is, right? That's a really powerful addition, and something that, by the way, is perhaps even more attributable than other social media posts that you can make. So, brands love email, candidly, because they can, the tracking capabilities are much better. People are going to be more willing to click on a link in an email than see a post you make on Instagram or TikTok and then go to your bio to actually click on the tracking link or something, right? It's that one extra step that, to leave the feed that a lot of people don't want to do, right? And so that kind of dynamic doesn't exist as much in email. Obviously, yeah, you have to get them to open the email and all that stuff, which is a separate challenge and a separate strategy. But I believe that should be part of any, competent creators' business strategy. Look, I did not accept sponsors on my newsletter for the longest time. And it was a conscious decision. I wanted to build the newsletter and in that way. I turned on sponsorships on my newsletter about maybe 9 months ago, and it literally is a 5-figure revenue stream for me now. Right? So it's it can represent a very significant revenue stream for you if you have an engaged audience, if you're in a content vertical that, you go out there and you proactively look for sponsors who are trying to get in front of your audience. It can represent a really, really lucrative revenue stream. So I'm just gonna leave that anecdote with you and let you decide whether or not growing an email list is the right move for you and your business. Rod said, I just looked at your personal Instagram with your family and you look really happy. Dude, I am so happy. I have like the most amazing life. Like I was looking at my wife today. She was like in the kitchen. I was sitting like eating breakfast and I looked at her and I was just like, I have such a great life. I told her that. Like I really do feel so blessed. Like it's one of the reasons, candidly, why I just feel so fulfilled waking up every day doing this, helping other creators in their business, because I feel as though we've had so much success over the last 15 years in our creator business that it's like I look at this kind of next phase of my life, this next chapter of my life as like I've been kind of called to this duty to help others grow their business, because it gives me so much satisfaction. It gives me, when people DM me, when people email me and reply to my email that they got a sponsorship, or they got their very first brand deal, or they got paid their first 5-figure deal, first 4-figure deal, whatever, or they've quit their full-time job, like that. I can't tell you how much joy I feel. And I think that it's like a very unusual emotion for a lot of creators to feel, because a lot of creators are operating from a mindset of scarcity. They're thinking that if this creator over here, this influencer over here gets a deal or is doing well, that's somehow bad for me. That's like, it's like I'm feeling this tremendous sense of jealousy, or like why them and not me? Oh, I've been doing it for longer and I'm not seeing the results that they are. Maybe they got a shout out from someone big or something, or they got a brand deal from a company that I've been using for 5 years. That's not fair. This type of thing. And the universal message that I teach and how I coach creators is to escape from this victimhood around being a creator and how it's not fair. The reality is that like you have to make your own reality. You have to make your own dreams come true. And so by being on these live streams, by educating yourself about what are the things that you have, what are the things that you are in control of, like that is so much, that is such a more optimistic way to look at this and to operate from, a mindset to operate from, because the world is your oyster now. You're no longer feeling as though I'm just like, man, I'm being whipped around by the algorithm. Like, it sucks. Like I can't, none of my, posts are being seen in the feed and all that stuff. I get it. It's frustrating, but like, let's go back to basics here. What are you in control of? You're in control of like being very engaged for the people that are seeing your stuff. You're being, what you have in control. We just talked about like having a newsletter email list. Like that is something that you have power. Just, making a concerted strategy to like, okay, I am going to like have an email list, because that's a way to like directly connect with people. That's one thing I'm going to work on this year. Forging collaborations, doing partnerships, shooting my shot with a creator that I would love to collaborate with. I'm just going to go and I'm going to reach out. They may say no, but that's okay. I'm not going to take it personally. Like what are the things that you have control over in your life, in your creator business, and go after those things with tenacity, with perseverance, and realizing that, hey, even if I get a no, it's not no forever. It's just not yet. Right. And so this perspective is not palatable to a lot of creators, because they like being victims. They like sitting and griping about the YouTube algorithm or social media algorithms or whatever. I'm here to tell you that that's always going to be the case. There's always going to be obstacles in your way, in your business. You think if my wife and I were sitting and complaining about the fact that we were making, like we had 1 month in our YouTube heyday where we made $25,000 on YouTube AdSense. That was the most we ever made in a single month. And now, remember I said we were making 95% of our income off of YouTube AdSense, and now we're making 1% of our income now, because we're so heavily diversified. You think if we were sitting and complaining of like, oh, remember when that was so awesome? No, we just kind of like chalked it up to just like, that's how it goes. All right, let's move on to something else now. Let's figure out how we can keep this train running. Right. And so like, this is what you're going to get from me. Like I talk about this a lot, that I'm kind of a tough love coach, tough love. I'm going to give you tough love with this type of stuff, because I just simply don't believe that it's productive to just sit and wallow. Yeah, fine. Wallow for a little bit, then just realize that, okay, like that's not going to do me any good. Let me go back to like looking at what I am in control of. And I feel like that's such a more productive way to get to the objectives and the goals that you want to reach. And so if that resonates with you, subscribe or follow me if you're not, yet. So yeah, so like I hope that. Sorry, I just like went off. I don't know why. I just decided to I just decided to like go off on that tangent. Elevate with Vern says, always obstacles. Yeah, I hear you. Always obstacles. And you know, I'll be fair. Another thing that I will say is that I understand, like, I'm totally like cognizant of the fact that certain creators have more privilege than others. Like I'll be the first one to admit that, whether it's, you know, you know, where you were born, or maybe you have the ability, you have like someone who's supporting you, maybe like even something as simple as like having a supportive spouse, right? Like that's a big thing. Like I've worked with, you know, and coached a lot of creators who their partner doesn't support this thing that they do, which is like really hard, right? Versus imagine you had a partner who was like, yeah, quit your job, I'll maintain that. And in fact, this is what I did for April. I believed in April so much back in the day that when she basically, you know, we were doing the side hustle thing, and she basically was just so frustrated with her like full-time job. And I was just like, we were starting to make some income in the YouTube stuff. And I had a, you know, a pretty good job in medical devices at that time. I had health insurance, all that stuff. And I basically was like, just quit. Like, let's give this, like, I think you should give this YouTube thing a shot. And like, that was just such a profound privilege to be able to be in that position to offer her that opportunity. I'm not taking credit at all. Like it was her hard work. Like she busted her butt for years to like, you know, it really was her. Like I give her all that credit, but like a big part of it was her being able to like focus full time on doing this YouTube thing. And I was obviously supporting in the background, but like it was very much her. And so like that is a privilege. And so like there are obstacles that everyone deals with in their own life, whether it's personal obstacles, friends, family, not believing in you, you know, this type of thing. And so I totally acknowledge that. And I want to like be clear about that. All right, let's see. Elevate with Vern says, OMG, I am loving this. We are in alignment. I appreciate that very much. Callie and stuff says April fan club. Exactly. I'm the number one fan in the April fan club. Tyler, we got Tyler, the creator's attorney. So you're really one of those good guys. So grateful to you and your expertise and knowledge. I tell all my creator clients about you and your course. I appreciate that so much, Tyler. Tyler is in my cohort number 9 of right now at Brand Deal Wizard. I'm so appreciative of you, Tyler. You also are doing such a huge service to the creator economy. So anyone looking for a lawyer, make sure to go check out Tyler at the Creator's Attorney, because she's doing the God's work over here. Mocktail Mom says, hey, Justin, appreciate you so much. I appreciate you, Deb. I saw you just asked a question in the community, and I think you got your answer. I hope you did. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining in. All right, so we've got some more questions here. Let's see here. Colin, what's up, dude? Just opened up TikTok, and that rant was just what I needed to hear. I sat here with Katie going, yeah, there we go. I appreciate that, man. So good. Man, I miss you guys. It's been, I don't even remember the last time that we hung out or saw you guys. I saw you guys were hanging out with Ellie and Jared recently. So I'm so thrilled to hear you guys are still connected and everything. So great to hear from you, man. And April and I always laughed our asses off, by the way, like watching your guys' short form stuff. So good to see you. All right. In fact, Colin, DM me, man. I would love to like reconnect with you. It's so good to see you. It's Divya. Justin, you look smart today. Thank you. Like smart as in intelligent, or like smart as in handsome? I don't know. She Fires says Tyler at the Creators. Yeah, her social handle at TikTok, and I think on YouTube too, is at the Creator's Attorney. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Elevate with Vern says, how can we get in the community? So Vern, the community that I mentioned that Deb is in is for current students and alumni of my Brand Deal Wizard program. So if you want to check out Brand Deal Wizard, just go to branddealwizard.com. So it's my program, or just DM me, Vern, and I can send you the link. It's Divya says, haha, handsome. You all are already intelligent, boss. Oh, thank you very much, Divya. For those of you guys who don't know Divya is the person who leads my editing team. So I appreciate you being here, dude. Good to see you. We got Nicholas Natali. Dude, what is going on, Nicholas? If you guys don't know Nicholas's podcast, it is absolutely fire. It's in top 1%, right? Top 1% of podcasts it was a business, entrepreneurship, something like that. His podcast is fire, y'all. So definitely check him out. Good to see you here, Nicholas. Let's see here. There was a question that I missed here. She Fire says, what message or how can I best notify website visitors who complete the contact form that their email address will be added to the distribution list? Great question. So I am a fan of okay. So what we're talking about here is there's a difference between a newsletter opt-in form and a contact form. And so a newsletter opt-in form is very visibly like, hey, you're signing in, you're opting into this thing where I'm going to be continuing to send you like marketing emails, this type communications, this type of thing. And so that's like a reasonable expectation of people to, like be added to your distribution list. A contact form, someone like submitting a question to you, I don't think that there's like a realistic expectation that people are going to be added to a distribution list or a newsletter when they send a contact form email to you. And so what I would do, I'm always a fan of being like upfront and not trying to be shady. I would add a checkbox that is opt-in, not that's pre-selected. I would add a checklist that says like, add me to your email list or newsletter or whatever, that people can like check when they're submitting a contact form inquiry to you. I just think that's probably the best way to do it. But I also, if you don't have this, I also do believe that you should have a newsletter opt-in form separate from your contact form. And then maybe this is something as simple as like a pop-up widget on your website, or they have these things called exit intent pop-ups. I have one of those on my website. So if you go to creatorwizard.com, and you're like reading some articles or something, and then you go to like move your mouse to like X out the tab, a pop-up comes up that says like, hey, join the newsletter, this type of thing, right? And so like I would look into that too, for sure. All right. Let me dive back in to the Instagram chat. Crafting with Crazy, Jen says, worth the investment. Boom. There we go. You got a real-time testimonial with Crafting with Crazy. Jen is in the current cohort of the program. So if you want to know anything about the program, make sure to DM her, Vern. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you very much. Awesome. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see what we got on TikTok here. Colin says, yeah, man, we'll DM you in a big slump right now with everything going on, or lack thereof. But the remember what you're in control of reminder was perfect. Dude, I'm so glad to hear that, man. Isn't it so weird how like sometimes you hear the right message, the exact message that you need to hear in a given moment? I've always found, I don't know what it is. I feel like that's always been like something that's happened to me in my life when I was in a rut or a slump or a creative slump or business slump or whatever it is. And I just randomly came across a post or a live stream or a book or a quote or like something. And I was like, oh God, I needed to hear that today, because it's like, this is like such a prolific thing that like a recurring thing that happens, especially for creators, because let's talk about this. This is like actually really important, which is that the only thing that we have to go off of oftentimes as creators in terms of like we're succeeding or like we're like doing the right thing is our metrics, usually on social media. Think about a traditional career. When you're in like a corporate 9-to-5 or you're doing that kind of traditional career path, there's almost always someone else who is telling you what success is. Right? Maybe it's your boss and you have some sort of like, KPIs or OKRs where you're trying to like, right, your objectives and key results. And, you've got your performance plan of like what you're trying to do, or you've got a job description, or you're trying to do X, Y, Z or whatever. And someone is like evaluating you. You're being told what to do. But when you are a creator, when you are an online business, entrepreneur or whatever, there's no one there to tell you what to do. You are making it up as you go, right? And so like the only, especially when you're a creator, and the only metric that you have to judge your own successes is I'm going to like look at my likes or my views or my impressions or my reach. And when the social media algorithms are decreasing your organic reach on a daily and weekly, monthly basis, it's no wonder that we're all feeling so depressed, right? Because it's like that's the only metric that we have to tell ourselves that, hey, like you're doing good stuff, like you're on the right path, you're on the right track. And so when it's anything other than upward, even if it's just like you're status quo and things are like continuing to go okay, you still feel like you suck because it's like you're not growing. You're seeing all these other people going viral and growing and whatever, right? Getting deals, getting brand deals, etc. And you feel like, what's wrong with me? Like, why do I suck? Why don't people want to follow me or like my stuff or view my stuff or whatever, right? And so what I'm hoping that everyone heals is that you have to invent new metrics for yourself that are not that are detached from the arbitrary vanity metrics, because those are not the things that are going to actually move you forward in your business. I'm here to say, yeah, all of that stuff is going to be there, right? It's always going to be there. And it's always going to be like, intoxicating to follow that and want to like believe that that's the only thing that's going to like, make me happy at the end of the day, right? But I'm here to say that you have to create new metrics for yourself. And those metrics could be outside of business, actually. Maybe these metrics, like the life that you want to invent for yourself, maybe it means that like, hey, let's say you are doing this full time, getting back to that memory of why you wanted to do this in the first time, getting back to that memory of like, wow, like I forgot that like a reason that I wanted to do this is so I could be more present in my kid's life. And that I wanted to be able to drop them off and pick them up from school every day, or I wanted to be able to be at their soccer game every day. And I wanted to do those things. I wanted to be able to like go on vacation and not have to ask for time off and all this stuff. And like remembering that, like, just like look 10 years ago or 5 years ago and remember like the life that you have now is the life that you always wished you had, probably. Right. And if you're not there yet, that's okay. But like I have found like in moments for me of my like this kind of like lull or nadir of the journey of like, fearing like I was in this kind of lull. Like I always have to like remember and look back and be like, man, what I'm doing right now is what I always hoped that I could do. And it's always this thing that we're always like looking at what's next. Like, oh, I want to be there like in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Right. But in reality, like this is it. This is life. I guarantee you, every single one of you here, I guarantee you that regardless of how much success you're going to have in your life, and you look back on your life, you're not going to remember the amount of money you made or the amount of followers. Oh yeah, you had 100 versus 200,000. It's going to mean nothing. What you're going to remember is the journey. You're going to remember the process. You're going to remember what it was like in the grind, what it was like growing this thing, what it was like remembering those memories of like how exciting it felt when you were building this thing. And so I need everyone to hear that, because I think it's so easy to forget why we started doing this to begin with. And maybe you're at the beginning of your journey right now. And that's a really important thing to remember throughout this process, is like the process itself is the fulfilling part, really. And I feel like I kind of have a new lease on life, actually. Maybe that's not the right saying, but like, I feel so privileged to be able to kind of have this new chapter where I'm serving creators and helping people with their sponsorship strategy, because it's like, I learned this like over the last decade doing this for my wife and I personally. I learned that like realizing, looking back on it, that like, oh, growing it, that was actually the thing that I loved doing the most. And so from the beginning, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I started doing this, I've been so mindful of that. I've been so mindful of like enjoying the ride and just being, and so maybe that's why people always ask me like, how are you so positive? How do you have so much energy, Justin, talking about this like boring topic around sponsorships? It's because I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm loving the process. And so regardless of how much, like I never got into this thinking like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money doing this. I never thought that. I was just like, I'm going to have fun doing this. I'm going to serve people. I'm going to help people. I'm going to like that's the mission. Right. And like, surprise, surprise, I've made a bunch of money because money, I believe, is a byproduct of serving people. It's a byproduct of helping people. And so it's always kind of come easy, like in this last 3 years, because it's just like, that's not what I was chasing. I was chasing like fulfillment. I was chasing just joy and having fun. And I think that people like are attracted to that, So I don't even know how we got to this tangent, but I just want, holy cow, She Fires just did a $20 super chat. Holy cow. That really, really means a lot to me. Thank you. I never expect anything. But she said, thank you for your insight and advice. I absolutely. I'm so happy that it was helpful. And that always just really, really means a lot to me. So thank you. We got Kimberly Millionaire here in the chat. Good to see you, Kimberly. And let's see here. Yeah. Oh, we got some other here. Oh my God. So agree. Look at all these people saying agree. Totally worth the investment. Can I just like screenshot all these? Like, what the heck? Like, you guys are just giving me all this love in the chat here. Like, this is wild. Thank you so much, guys. We got Jen and Dev and Tyler. Guys, you guys are I appreciate you guys so much. Let's see here. Something else here. Elliot Burns, I'm so enjoying this. Like we are really on the same track. Yeah. Tyler says the creator journey is so lonely and mind wrecking. Thank you for this, Justin. You see us. Yeah. 100%. It's so tough. Your vibrational frequency is next level, says Jen. Holy cow. Your vibrational frequency. Yes. I love protecting and supporting my fellow creators. It's why I'm walking away from Hollywood. I'm done protecting the big companies. This is really fulfilling work. I love to hear that, Tyler. Ramen Razzi says the best tangent. Yes. Amazing. Kimberly says, wait, I'm missing the party. Where is it? The party's on Instagram. There's a bunch of people on the Instagram chat. Anyways, we went over time today, but I think it was needed, right? Do you guys agree that this tangent was needed? It sounds like people needed to hear this today. And I'm so glad that I'm here and I'm on the vibrational frequency that everyone needed today. If you celebrate the 4th of July in America or Canada Day in Canada, I know the long weekend is coming up. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope this was helpful for y'all. And I hope to see you next week for another live stream. And I'll see you on the flip